Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving into a hidden underground plumbing mystery that might literally be happening right beneath your lawn right now. Look, if you're a homeowner, you probably already know the absolute dread of a sudden plumbing issue, right? But what we're looking at today, well, it isn't just your standard clog. We're talking about an active, growing invasion happening just inches out of sight.
I mean, why is your bathroom sink suddenly gurgling out of nowhere? Or, maybe you've noticed a recurring clog in the exact same kitchen line, over and over again. It's so incredibly easy to just grab the plunger and brush off these everyday plumbing annoyances as just normal quirks of living in a house. But actually, those little noises and slow drains might be the early warning signs of a much larger and way more expensive issue quietly developing under the surface.
All right, Section 1, Hidden Invasion, Underground Roots.
To find the literal root of the problem here, we've got to pull back the dirt. And the surprising culprit? Often it's thirsty tree roots. According to our source material, tree roots are actually among the single most common causes of recurring sewer line problems, and that goes for both residential and commercial properties. You see, these roots are constantly and aggressively hunting through the soil for moisture and nutrients. When they detect the water inside your plumbing, they effectively turn your sewer pipes into their own personal underground buffet, and they will stop at absolutely nothing to get inside to that water source.
So how do they actually break through solid plumbing? Well, surprisingly, they don't even need a giant hole. Roots are incredibly opportunistic. They break into your pipes by exploiting very minor, almost invisible defects. We're talking about aging joints, tiny hairline cracks, or even just slightly displaced pipe segments. Once they find that tiny entryway, they push inside. And fed by that constant flowing water supply, they grow vigorously over time. Slowly but surely, they narrow the flow of water and trigger massive blockages that can completely disrupt your home's infrastructure. It's kind of wild when you think about it.
Let's move on to Section 2, Spotting Warning Signs, Escalating Symptoms.
So how exactly does a microscopic crack turn into a full-blown property crisis? The thing is, the results of root intrusion almost always appear gradually, which is exactly why people tend to ignore them. Step 1 usually starts with increasing delays when water drains. You're taking a shower and the water just pools around your feet a little longer than usual. Then, Step 2, you start hearing those gurgling sounds from the drains we mentioned earlier. By Step 3, you might notice foul odors lingering near your cleanouts outside. And if you ignore all of those warnings, well, we hit Step 4, the absolute worst-case scenario. This is when wastewater backups occur and sewage literally surfaces in your living spaces where it absolutely should not be. What started as a minor nuisance is now a severe, unsanitary emergency.
Okay, Section 3, Diagnosing the Root Cause, Finding the Exact Spot.
Once you notice these signs, we can't just guess what's wrong, right? Professionals have to investigate. And to do that, they use what is essentially an endoscopy for your home, a CCTV pipeline inspection. This diagnostic tool involves sending a small camera directly through the sewer line. Now, this is an absolute game changer because it allows plumbers to visually identify not just the root intrusion itself, but the exact pipe segment that's affected, along with the condition of the surrounding infrastructure. The camera footage confirms without a doubt whether the blockage is being driven by thirsty tree roots or if it's, say, just standard debris, a buildup of grease, or regular pipe damage.
But the visual alone isn't always the whole story. The diagnostic process actually goes a step further. Many professional teams will pair that camera footage with specialized probes or even initial hydrojetting testing. Why? Well, because they need to understand exactly how far the obstruction extends down the line and, crucially, how strongly those roots have adhered to the actual pipe wall. They need a complete, comprehensive picture of the severity of the infestation before they can determine the best way to get rid of it.
That brings us to Section 4, Root Removal Methods, Restoring Flow.
So, the camera has revealed the exact problem. How do the pros actually fix it? We generally have two main lines of attack here, mechanical cutting versus hydrojetting. Mechanical cutting involves inserting actual physical tools through access points to mechanically sever the roots. It restores water flow very quickly, which is great, but there's a huge catch. If you don't fix the entryway, those roots are just going to reappear. Then we have hydrojetting. This is high-pressure water cleaning. This incredibly powerful blast of water dislodges organic buildup and helps clear the area around the roots. In fact, for really persistent infestations, teams won't just choose one method, they'll combine both. They use the mechanical cutter to sever the main roots and then the hydrojet to blast away the remaining debris for the best possible outcome.
But remember that catch I just mentioned? Yeah, if the CCTV inspection shows structural deterioration, meaning the pipe itself is heavily damaged or just really old, simply removing the roots isn't enough to solve your problem long term. you need lining solutions. Trenchless lining effectively seals up those hairline cracks and aging joints from the inside, significantly reducing the chances of future root entry. It's essentially like rebuilding the armor of your plumbing from within.
And finally, Section 5, Preventing Intrusions, Long-Term Protection.
Treating the immediate symptom absolutely must be followed by preventative care. We want to empower you with some actionable steps here. Think of this as your preventative care prescription for a healthy home. Because roots almost always return when their entry paths remain, you have to eliminate the conditions that allowed them in to begin with. First, obviously, repair any damaged pipe sections and improve your pipe sealing. But next, look above ground. Seek professional guidance on your tree placement and your irrigation habits. Believe it or not, adjusting how you water your lawn can actually limit how aggressively roots seek out your sewer leaks in the first place. You also want to maintain proper drainage practices to reduce material buildup inside the pipes that worsen clogs. And finally, if you live in an area with known root-prone soils or older sewer infrastructure, don't wait for a clog. Schedule routine inspections. You got to stay ahead of the problem.
So we've covered the hidden invasion, the escalating symptoms, the high-tech diagnosis, and the dual-pronged removal solutions. But honestly, the most important takeaway from our source material is all about timing. Delays turn a manageable blockage into a very expensive emergency. Waiting until the wastewater backs up into your living room is a costly, unsanitary mistake. If you're hearing gurgles or experiencing persistent clogs, don't guess. Get an inspection early. So I'll leave you with this final, provocative thought to ponder today. Delays are expensive, so what's growing beneath your lawn right now?